Hello and welcome to another edition of Storybook Crafts from the Alameda Free Library. Today I'm going to show you how to make very elegant and simple painted leaves. I am inspired always by this lovely book. I'm going to move my leaves aside here for a moment. Autumn Leaves by Ken Robbins. Alameda is an island of trees. In fact, the word Alameda means avenue of trees, and this city was planned very carefully to have all different varieties of trees. This book actually mentions quite a few. The leaves I'm going to be using today will be the leaves of the ginkgo tree, and these are very, very special to me because they are prevalent in Alameda. They start out green in the springtime. They have these cute little fruits that sometimes fall on the ground throughout the summer, and then in the late autumn and early winter, well, no, it's not really winter, late autumn, November-ish, kind of mid-November, they turn yellow and they fall to the ground like snow. And you can rake them up and make them into piles and play in them just like snow if you're careful and clean. But we're actually going to be using some that are still a little green. They might be a little yellow or brown, but we want them soft. So this is a wonderful book to check out and be inspired by, as is this one, this brand new book called Let's Play Outdoors, Exploring Nature for Children, which includes some fabulous crafts. There's a great one in here for forest rattles. That'll be for another day. Today, I was inspired by this book to make these painted leaves using leaves I found in nature. So this is what our finished product will look like. So somewhat, we'll probably have a few different colors. This is how we're gonna start out. So I went on a little nature walk and I gathered my leaves. I'm looking at them now. When I gathered them, I used a small plastic container that sealed tightly so that they wouldn't get too crumbly. So these leaves have not started yet to turn yellow and fall off on their own. However, I did find several that had already fallen. I did not pick these up off the tree, or rather, I did not pick these off the tree. I picked them up off the ground, making sure that they were in a clean area and being safe, and then putting them in a little plastic container so they wouldn't get too hard. I want them to be a little pliable so that I can paint them. This one was a little too crumbly, as you can see. It ripped. It's okay if they do rip. You can still, of course, paint them and have fun with them. You could even use this one as a paintbrush if you wanted to. But I want to pay attention to the ones that are pretty soft still so that I can paint them. I think this one is super cool. What else will we need? Well, we'll need some paint. I'm going to be using acrylic paint today. Tempera paint will work as well, or even the paint that you use for finger paints should work. Watercolors won't work so well unless you first paint the leaf white with acrylic paint, let it dry, and then paint over it with watercolor. But for our purposes today, we are going to be using acrylic paint. And we'll need some paper, and one very cool little effect of putting some paper under the leaves that you paint is then you'll also be left with a print. We're going to need some water, so water in a glass, and of course some brushes. And we'll need to be patient because this is a two-step process. We're first going to paint the leaves. Here's a few that I've painted, and we'll use those in my example in just a few minutes. But we're first going to paint them and then let them dry. So we're going to paint them one color or swirly colors. This one was kind of swirled together. And then let them dry. Then we're going to go back in and use some details to make the decorations on the leaves. Okay, so that's what we're going to need. Let's get started. We'll start by placing a piece of white paper on our surface. That's what we're going to be painting on top of, and also what we're going to use to let our leaves dry. Let's see, I've got one I've already started. Yeah, I'll go ahead and use the dirty side so I can use the clean side for some other project once that's dry. So this leaf is a little dirty. I'm going to wipe it off just with my fingers, just gently there. You can see I get a little debris from it. Do want to make sure that they're clean, but there's no need to wash them off with water. Then they'll just get even more soggy. But we don't want too many little pieces of dirt on there. And I'm going to choose some that have interesting shapes, or perhaps like this one. It actually looks like a little caterpillar is attached to it, but that is the base of the leaf that came off the branch. It all fell out like that onto the ground, so I picked the whole thing up. Oh, and I just love this one. Now, usually I like to try to find ones with a longer stem, so then I can afterwards maybe hang these as a leaf mobile, or put them in a little vase as a little bouquet. There's lots of little things you could do. You could even make a little pin to put on your lapel if you glue a pin to the back. But this one didn't have the stem, but it has just such a beautiful shape. It reminds me of a whale's tail. So I'll use these. These will be our examples to start with, just to show you how to do the paint. Now, on a separate piece of paper or on a palette, if you have a paint palette, that's where you're going to want to put your paints. So choose a few colors that you find interesting. I like yellow. I'm going to go for some mostly darker colors for my base color. But I'm going to use that yellow to show you a swirling technique. There's a blue. I won't do green because the leaf is already green. I might like this bright, bright pink. That would be a really cool base color. And I like those three colors together. That's a very interesting color combination to me. So it doesn't take much to get started. I have a variety of different sizes of paintbrushes. If I had really big leaves and I was going to do all just one color, I could use the big brushes. For my small details, I'll use the smaller brushes. So I'll save the smaller brushes for those smaller details once these leaves are dry. I'll use one big brush here for, let's just start with the pink. Get a little bit of pink on my brush, and I will go ahead and start painting. Go with this leaf. Your hands will get a little messy. Oh, I got a little blue on there too. Ooh, I like it. It's making kind of purple. So this initial part goes pretty quickly, and you can even do both sides at the same time. That's how I got those really cool prints on that piece of paper there. Neat to get a few little details of the leaf in there. Go ahead and paint the stem too, and then set that aside to dry. I'll get another piece of paper to set it on just so that it's going to set aside to dry. And let's see, now I want to get a swirl on this next one. So I'm going to take my brush and swirl it through these colors. Ooh, I like that. These next leaves are going to be swirly. Just big strokes straight down with my brush like this. You don't want to mix the colors too much because then they'll turn kind of a brownish. But when we just do quick strokes like this, nice, very pretty swirl. I might need a little bit more paint on there even. Ooh, I got some green in there. Ooh, I love it. That's great. So pretty, and look at the print that it makes. Just beautiful. I'll set that aside to dry. And here's this one special one. I think I'm going to put this brush in the water for now. I'll get a new blob of paint in a different color. I'm going to go for a bright, bright blue on this one. There we go. Keep that away from the other colors so I don't get them mixed. And I'll take the bigger brush and I'll get that blue on the leaf. Oh, that's really pretty. Love it. And I'm going to try to keep this one as still as possible so that I get that pretty shape on the other side. There we go. I'll flip it. Oh, it's so pretty. And then when I press it on the other side with the paint here, I should get a little bit of an impression on my paper. Yeah, oh, that is so pretty. This will make a very nice card for someone once that is dry. And let's see, the last one here, I'll do this one, blue too, since blue is what I've got. I'm gonna put it up here so that I get a little variety on my print. So we're kind of making two things here. We're making our painted leaves. We're also making a beautiful leaf print. It's kind of like a mono print. Oh, that is just beautiful. I think I'm gonna put some yellow on here so that we get sort of a greenish, and put yellow right there in the middle so that when I mix those colors together, oh yeah, lovely. And I'll put it right here on the edge. It's almost the exact color of the actual leaf. Look at that, beautiful. And when I pick it up, great print. I love it. Actually, I'm going to do it one more time. I really love that green. Let's see what kind of impression we get too. Yeah. Done. I love the print just as it is. I'm going to set my leaves aside to dry, just like that. We'll let them dry overnight. That way the next day they'll be well and ready to paint our little details. One other thing that's good to have handy, of course, when you're painting is some paper towels, so that once you've used your brush, you can then wipe it off with water, or rather rinse it in water, and then wipe it off with the towel. I had a little blob of paint here on this print that we made. I'm going to just make a little design with my brush there. What a beautiful print. Maybe a few dots. Done. Alright, there's my beautiful print. I'm going to set that aside to dry too. Nice little kind of abstract art with leaves. It's really pretty. Okay, we'll put that aside. That'll dry overnight as well. I'm still going to use this little piece of paper here that I had my paint blobs on, using as my palette. And I'll go ahead and rinse my smaller brush off there and use my paintbrush to dry it off. Now for the fun part. So my leaves have dried overnight. Bring back another piece of paper here to put under as my work surface. Here are the ones that I showed you earlier. They're dry and they are ready to add some details to. So one by one, let's see, I'm going to use this pretty, it's kind of like a magenta color almost. I like that blue, that really bright blue. I'm going to use some bright blue details on this one. What else will really stand out? Probably some yellow. I'm really going for the blues and yellows today. Okay, so this one I think I'm just going to do some simple dots. So I'll take my brush and we'll just paint some dots all around the leaf here. You could do this with some very sparkly paint. That might look really cool. If you have glitter glue, that would look really neat. Pearly paints, nail polish, that would look really neat. Oh, I love that. That is just beautiful. And let's see, I might take another one. I'm going to put some more details on that one in yellow in a moment. But since my brush still has blue on it, I'm going to use this same brush to make, I think, just some simple strokes on this leaf. You don't have to be a professional painter to make some pretty nice designs. Pretty simple, just dots and lines. There we go. There, I love that. All right. And now, let's see, I think I'm ready for some yellow on there. Wash that brush off, wipe it away. Let's get some yellow dots on that first leaf. Get a little variety. These will be so pretty in a little leaf mobile. So when your leaves are all dry, you can string the stems together make a little mobile or gather the stems together and make a little bouquet, a tiny bottle. See, I think I'll do the edges here. Just a little bit on the edges, a little yellow on the edges. Look at how elegant that looks. And it was so simple. Really not much to it at all. It's a really nice, mindful project to do. You can be mindful of all the lovely things that drop on our ground that we don't even notice most of the time. All these beautiful leaves. There, that one is done. I'm going to set that one aside to dry. When that side's dry, of course, you can flip it over and do the other side too, if you want to. There we go. And now I'm going to add some dots on this one. Yeah, just at the edges of my lines there. There we go. Our leaves are painted and gorgeous. There we are done. So, as I mentioned before, when you're all done and they're all dry, you can gather them together, pinch those stems together, maybe take a little string and wrap it around and then hang them, or perhaps bunch them together like this and put a little safety pin in the middle and make a lapel pin. Ooh, you could put them in your hair. Lots of really fun things you could do with these beautiful painted leaves. I hope you enjoy this craft. I hope you check out those great books, and I sure hope you tune in next time for the next storybook craft. See you later. Bye-bye.